Was good in the pocket when he needed to escape. And then some of the action game when they were playing too high and matching coverage, either finding Q or finding guys underneath to keep the sticks efficient, was really a positive for him. I thought he felt, very comfortable throughout the game. Every new moment he gets is a new learning opportunity, and we talk about that. We talked about that on Monday, like situationally at the end of the game, and just all those different opportunities to learn and grow from and teach off of.
Browns offensive coordinator Tommy Reese made headlines this week when he publicly apologized to Shedeur Sanders, the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback, for the struggles he faced during the game against the Buffalo Bills. Reese not only acknowledged that the interceptions Shedeur threw in that game were not the fault of the rookie QB, but also confirmed that Shedeur Sanders will be the franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns moving forward. This is a big moment for the franchise and for Shedeur, who has faced plenty of criticism despite his strong potential. In this video, we're going to break down why Tommy Reese made this apology, what it means for Shedeur Sanders' future with the Browns, and how everything went wrong in the game against the Bills. We'll also take a closer look at Shedeur's performance compared to Josh Allen, and discuss how Shedeur's potential as the Browns' franchise quarterback was finally solidified with this apology. Let's first take a step back and look at what happened in the game against the Bills. Going into this matchup, the Browns were hopeful about their chances. With Shedeur Sanders under center, the team had been showing a lot of promise. But things didn't go according to plan, and it became one of the most talked about games of the season, not just because of the loss, but because of Shedeur's struggles, including throwing multiple interceptions. For those who watched the game, it was clear that Shedeur wasn't playing his best. But what Tommy Reese confirmed after the game was eye-opening. Reese admitted that the real issue wasn't Shedeur's performance. In fact, he confirmed that the interceptions that fans were quick to criticize Shedeur for were actually the result of a flawed game plan. Shedeur Sanders didn't have the proper support in terms of play calling, and that's why things went south. Reese essentially took the blame for the game plan failing, which led to Shedeur being put in a difficult situation.
Very comfortable throughout the game, had a little bit of miscommunication on the first interception, and then just situationally aware on the second one of kind of how they're playing it, and just gain a zero there is a good play, and let's move on to the next. But
Reese said that he had failed to put Shedeur in a position to succeed. He also pointed out that the rookie quarterback had been forced into situations where he had to make decisions on the fly that he simply wasn't prepared to make, given the circumstances. Those interceptions were a result of that, not a lack of skill or judgment from Shedeur. This was a crucial moment for the Browns coaching staff. It was one thing to have a rough game, but to publicly admit that the blame didn't rest solely on the quarterback was something that showed a lot of accountability from Reese. Rather than letting Shedeur take the heat, Tommy Reese owned up to his mistakes and took the opportunity to reset the narrative. The Browns needed to show their faith in Shedeur Sanders, and Reese's apology was the first step in doing just that. While the focus was on the multiple interceptions Shedeur threw, it's important to put things in context and look at how he stacked up against Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen during the game. Both quarterbacks faced similar challenges, yet their performances were perceived very differently by the media and fans. When you look at the completion percentages of both quarterbacks, you'll see that Shedeur Sanders was actually performing at a higher level than Josh Allen in that department. Despite being in a difficult situation and throwing interceptions, Shedeur's completion percentage was better than Allen's. This fact might surprise some people, given how much attention Josh Allen gets for being one of the league's top quarterbacks. Shedeur was 20 of 29 for 160 yards in the game against Buffalo, with 1 touchdown but 3 interceptions. On the other hand, Josh Allen had a completion rate of just 58% for 276 yards and a touchdown. Allen also threw an interception. Statistically speaking, Shedeur was doing better than Allen when it came to completing passes. Yet despite this, Allen's performance was viewed as better due to his team's overall success and the support he had around him. This is where the game plan and team dynamics come into play. Shedeur didn't have the same level of support from his receivers, which made it more difficult for him to succeed. On the flip side, Josh Allen had a reliable group of playmakers to help him out. His receivers were getting open more often, and he was able to rely on them to make plays even when things didn't go perfectly. Meanwhile, Shedeur was under more pressure, facing tight coverage and limited options when it came to finding open receivers. The problem wasn't Shedeur's decision-making. It was that the game plan didn't give him the tools he needed to make successful plays. He was left to try and force things in a way that wasn't conducive to his natural playing style. This resulted in the interceptions, which led to the Browns falling behind in the game. Shedeur was put in a position where he had to make risky throws to try and get the team back in the game, and unfortunately, those throws didn't connect. But in terms of completion percentage, Shedeur was performing better than Allen, who had a supporting cast to make up for his mistakes. If Shedeur had the same level of receiver support, there's a good chance the game would have turned out differently, and the Browns could have had a better chance of winning. Now, let's talk about Tommy Reese's apology. In a press conference following the game, Reese took full responsibility for the game plan that failed Shedeur Sanders. He admitted that the game plan didn't give Shedeur a fair shot at success, and he apologized to the rookie quarterback for putting him in that position. Reese's words were a public recognition that Shedeur's struggles were not entirely his fault, and the coaching staff had to own up to their mistakes. Reese's apology was important for a few reasons. First, it showed that the Browns' coaching staff was willing to be accountable for their mistakes and learn from them. Second, it sent a strong message to Shedeur Sanders and the rest of the team that they were behind him. The last thing you want as a young quarterback is for your coaches to throw you under the bus after a tough game. Reese's apology was a way of reassuring Shedeur that they had his back and that the blame didn't lie on his shoulders alone.
They've done a nice job of finding new wrinkles, new compliments, matching their wrinkles to who their personnel is. Obviously, Watt's a great player, and you got to account for him, but they have other guys that have been in and out or new guys on the team that...
But perhaps most importantly, Reese's apology further solidified Shedeur Sanders as the future of the Cleveland Browns. By publicly taking responsibility for the game plan and acknowledging that Shedeur was not the problem, Reese essentially confirmed that the rookie quarterback was going to be their franchise QB moving forward. There were already signs that the Browns were building around Shedeur, but this apology made it crystal clear that he was the team's starting quarterback for the long haul. It's also possible that Hasma, a higher-up or coach, instructed Tommy Reese to issue this apology as a way of publicly solidifying Shedeur's position as the Browns' franchise QB. This move might have been part of a bigger plan to keep the locker room united and show the team that they were all in on Shedeur, regardless of his struggles. By praising him publicly, Reese and the Browns made sure that everyone, from the coaching staff to the fans, knew that Shedeur was their guy. With this apology, Shedeur Sanders' future with the Cleveland Browns looks even brighter. It's clear now that the team is committed to building around him, despite the rough patches they've experienced. The Browns have been searching for their franchise quarterback for years, and after seeing what Shedeur is capable of, it's clear that he has the potential to lead this team for a long time. Now that the game plan has been adjusted and Shedeur has been given more support, there's a good chance that we'll see an improved version of him in the upcoming games. The pressure is still on, of course, but with the coaching staff backing him up and the team rallying behind him, Shedeur Sanders is in a much better position to succeed moving forward. The next step for the Browns is to continue building around Shedeur. They'll need to strengthen the offensive line, improve the receiver core, and give him the tools to succeed. But with this apology from Tommy Reese, it's evident that Shedeur Sanders is not just a stopgap quarterback. He's the future of the Cleveland Browns. To wrap up, Tommy Reese's apology to Shedeur Sanders was a significant moment for the Cleveland Browns. It not only cleared up the confusion surrounding Shedeur's struggles in the Bills game, but also solidified his position as the franchise QB. With the game plan being the real culprit behind the turnovers, Shedeur showed that he's capable of completing passes and making plays under difficult circumstances. This apology marks the beginning of a new chapter for Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. With the coaching staff fully behind him, it's clear that the Browns are committed to building around their young QB. The future looks bright for Shedeur, and it's exciting to think about what this team could accomplish with him as their leader. Now, the Browns need to continue supporting Shedeur and give him the tools to thrive. If they can do that, there's no limit to what Shedeur Sanders can achieve as the face of the franchise. The Browns have found their quarterback of the future, and it's time to build a championship team around him. What do you think about Tommy Reese's apology to Shedeur Sanders? Do you believe it was the right move to acknowledge that the game plan, not Shedeur's performance, was the main issue against the Bills? How do you feel about Shedeur being confirmed as the Browns' franchise quarterback moving forward? Do you think the Browns have finally found their QB of the future? Or do they still need to make adjustments to fully support him? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with Reese's decision? Or do you think Shedeur still has something to prove before he can truly be the face of this team?